Welcome into another edition of Ask Mike, and if you're truly paying attention, you notice that something may be a little off. Mike Irwin right now in the hospital. Want to give him a shout out. Hey, Mike, we're thinking about you. We know what Arkansas football means to you. We know you're out there watching. We cannot wait to get you back. Courtney, you've worked with Mike for a really long time. Please, some motherly advice for him to make sure that he's not coming back too soon.
That's what I told him, because everyone's asking me, how's Mike doing? How's he faring up? And I know he's been updating everyone on social media. So he has been updating all of you guys at home because he cares about you guys as well. But every time I talk to him, he goes, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. And I go, Mike, just take a breather. It's okay. I know we will all be here when he gets back. So, well, maybe not me, but that's everyone else will be here, and we're excited to have him back for sure.
Hey, Mike, we love you, man. We want you to get back, but certainly you're the Lee Corso of our group here in the Big Trail Nation. We want you to get back. We want you to get healthy. The other topic of discussion, as you can see here, Courtney Mims. This is actually going to be an Ask Courtney situation here this week. This will be her final week here in Fayetteville as part of the Ask Mike segment and with the Big Trail Nation team. Courtney, I've been here for 2 weeks now. I'm new to the area. Thank you so much for really helping break me in here, showing me the way, everything. You've been so generous. You've meant so much to the brand. I know some things are up in the air, but you are going to be sticking around within the state. Mm-hmm. Could you tell the people what the last couple of years have meant to you?
Yeah, everything. I moved to Arkansas, in 2022, early 2022, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't. I knew about the Razorbacks. I knew the brand. I just truly didn't know how big of a deal it was to the people of the state, that this is, and truly, we hear it all the time, and athletes will tell you who came through the program, this is the professional sports team. Here, we don't have pro teams, so the Razorbacks are it. And I went, sure, you can say that. No, that's actually how people treat Arkansas here in the state, and so it's meant everything to me. I walked in, I kind of said, a girl from Florida. People know that I didn't graduate from Arkansas. I know, but you guys have taken me in.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people come through here and maybe they didn't go to school, they didn't grow up here, but I felt the same way whenever I left. Like, you know what? I married an Arkansas girl.
Yeah.
I am an Arkansan.
Yeah, I'm marrying an Arkansas boy. So we're kind of in the same boat here. We're like Arkansans for life. And that's kind of what I said. So that's a little teaser. I'm not going too far. I'm still covering the Razorbacks. So y'all will still be able to toss around your hot takes with me, okay? That's still on the table.
I'm sure this segment meant so much to you, whether it's more professionally or either just something you took in. You got a favorite Arkansas sports moment from these last couple of years?
Oh, it's actually one of the questions.
Okay.
So it is. That's a little teaser. We do have a question about that. That might be one of our final questions.
Cold reading here, a little inside baseball here for the Ask Mike segment.
It has meant so much to me, though, Trey, because a lot of you guys know this, but when I first started, I was thrown onto the Ask Mike segment with Mike, and I kind of didn't know what I was getting into, and it just has become something that's just so fun for me to do every Monday afternoon, and just so fun for me to get up on the set and talk with Mike. Everybody knows there has been some very fun moments, some very funny moments, some great Mike Irwin stories, but also some fighting that goes on between us. It's all in love, I promise. I love him so much. But it's going to be tough to not be here and host that segment every Monday. So I don't want to get emotional, but it has meant the world to me.
Well, that's awesome to hear again. Thank you for all you've done for Arkansas athletics, for the Pig Trail Nation, for this great company that you work for. Thank you, and we look forward to whatever's in store for your future. I'm sure we're going to be very many big things here for you and your family as we move forward. Now, on to Ask Courtney here. Question number one. Austin wants to know, who's the biggest standout so far from fall camp, and who is going to be the guy that comes from out of nowhere this season? Courtney, go ahead. Take it away. Pressure's on.
I know, right? Go easy on me, guys. I know I'm not the great Mike Irwin, but we're going to answer these questions to the best of our ability. Trey, if you had asked me this question when fall camp started, I think everyone knew my answer. I was really, really hype on Antonio Jordan, just like everybody was all around.
Great mystery.
Seriously, I mean, he just looked, even though he's a true freshman coming in, I mean, we know what Warren guys do for the Arkansas program, and so
I'm old enough to remember whenever those first three big guys were here on campus.
There you go. So you would exactly know what I'm talking about there. But I think now my answer has changed a little bit. It's not that I'm not high on Antonio Jordan as much. It's just that I feel like, yes, he is a true talent. He's going to be awesome. just don't know how much he's actually going to do this year, how much playing time he'll have. So my answer's changed. The biggest standout is going to be Mike Washington. And I know I tweeted this just a few days ago, that I don't think he's being talked about enough. Well, the secret's out. Everybody's talking about him. That's fine. He's showing up and showing out. And in the scrimmage on Saturday, he did just that. I'm going to go through a little bit of what he did.
Sam Pittman raved about this kid on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And for good reason, too. He had a 62-yard pass from Taylor Green. We didn't get to see the scrimmage, so these are only the stats that we were told.
What they shared with us, yes.
Exactly, what they were able to share with us. He had a 4-yard touchdown run. Then he had a 40-yard touchdown run. I mean, this guy, he had I think they said it was around 50 yards in practice one day that everyone just went, okay, that's Mike Washington for you. There he goes. And I think because somebody asked me why I felt like he wasn't being talked about enough, and maybe it's because we just didn't look at him enough coming into fall camp because Braylon Russell returned, right? And everybody knows in the offseason there was drama with Braylon. Like, is he going to come back? Is he not? He's hopping in the portal. He's hopping out of it.
Is he in or is he out?
Is he in or is he out?
It was like a high school relationship, right?
Absolutely. Will he stay or will he go? And so he came back, which everyone kind of thought, okay, he's going to be the guy in that room. He's going to be the starting running back. And so Mike Washington comes in, and I think people go, okay, who is this guy? Where's he from? New Mexico State. He only started 4 games there, but, you know, a friend of mine covers that program, and she was like, listen, they were deep in that running back room, okay? Just because he started 4 games does not mean he was.
Shout out Las Cruces, by the way.
There you go. And it doesn't mean that he was not very good. And he still finished that season, again, 713 yards. He had a team-leading 8 touchdowns with them. So, okay, the stats are impressive. And I think just everyone was kind of, oh, can he back it up? Can he back it up? Well, he's looked the part in practice. I mean, you just said it. Sam Pittman's been really high on him. Other coaches have been very high on him. The other players have been very high on him. And just his leadership that he's kind of walked into that room and taken command there and been a leader for some of these other guys. I think, for me, biggest standout so far. Does that mean he'll have a great year? Remains to be seen. I think so far he would be the guy I would say biggest standout. The guy that comes from nowhere this season, that might be a little harder question to answer because I feel like
New Mexico State's kind of sort of out of nowhere.
Yeah, they is it. Okay. All right, kind of out of nowhere. I like that. But I think for me, I've got to look at the secondary because that's a position group that we want to see improvement on from last year to this year. They got lit up pretty good
in the passing game. Look, I wasn't here, but some of those numbers, 111th against the pass 1 year ago.
Oh,
I think there's only 130 teams in the country. So
yeah.
I mean, you were the.
Well, they were the worst in the SEC.
The ceiling is the roof. You know, the floor is the basement kind of thing.
They were the worst in the SEC. The worst in the SEC. So I think that's where I've been looking at. Okay, is there improvement there? And I like this guy because a year ago in fall camp, he impressed me, but then he got hurt. And you might be knowing who I'm talking about here. He transferred over from Florida, Miguel Mitchell. And I remember this point last year, me and Mike talked about it on Ask Mike. He had this awesome interception that made everyone go, oh my gosh, this is a guy that's a dog. Like, he's going to be able to do some stuff for them this season. Then he gets hurt. So that doesn't come to fruition. And so we saw him very limited last year, but I think you saw what he was able to do in that Liberty Bowl. He had that interception and returned it for 47 yards. And so I think there was that little flash of going, okay, that's the Miguel Mitchell that we saw in fall camp that's been hurt, been trying to get back healthy again, wasn't completely healthy, and now maybe we're going to see a healthy Miguel Mitchell. I like what Travis Williams said today about him because that made me think about him for this question and go, you know what? I think he might come out of nowhere a little bit just because of how limited he was last year. Travis Williams was like, he is so smart. His football IQ is off the charts, and that's what's going to make him a great player because it's just some things that you can't teach. He just already has it ingrained in him. The game comes to him naturally. He's able to find the ball. I mean, you saw that a little bit in the Liberty Bowl with that interception. He was just able to find the ball and make a great play. So I feel like we've seen glimpses of him. I'm looking for a little bit more from him this year. I think he could be a dark horse maybe in the secondary.
And I like what you said there about the Liberty Bowl. Keep in mind, college football fans out there, Texas Tech, they're like, the Google of college football with all the money that's being, they got money and they got money to burn. So, yeah, the rosters change every year, but, that's like a chic pick to maybe win the Big 12, get into the playoff, whatever it may be. Well, a year ago, Arkansas handled them in the Liberty Bowl. I know the teams are going to be different, but still, there's going to be some carryover. So, hey, maybe people should be a little bit higher on the Hogs. Just 5.5 right now at the over/under win total. For me, maybe one of the guys coming from out of nowhere. I'm going to go with Cam Shanks, and only because been dealing with a little bit of I believe it's a hamstring injury in camp. So we haven't seen much of him. But looking at his production a year ago, what he did at UAB in the return game and leading the nation, I can't wait to see this kid and what his top gear looks like and how much potentially in the return game he can really help the University of Arkansas. All right, question number 2. Eric Mateos and Trey Biddy have talked a lot about Danny Saili. Has he really improved that much in your opinion? And that right there is from Daddy Raymond, who was asking that question. So what do you think? Danny Saili, is he really that big of a factor right now for the Arkansas Razorbacks?
Yeah, you talk about underrated players, right? And guys who are looking to make a splash. Like, he might be a guy, I don't know if maybe comes out of nowhere is the correct term for this, because the coaching staff has been high on him, but I think the defensive line, another position group that we want to see what they can do this season. And there's going to be a lot of questions, I think, going into that first game still of what this group looks like with some of the inexperience that they have there. Danny's a guy that they really like him. He might be flying under the radar just a little bit. Had a good spring, dropped some weight, and that's what Travis Williams was talking about earlier today. So he's 6'3" and 319 pounds right now. And he was really big on, hey, I know.
Is he eating salads at 319? You think what's?
I don't know. You might have to ask him.
Whataburger and Raising Cane, they're getting a break right now?
You might have to ask him there, because he was really big on going, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. And not in the sense of the word where Travis Williams was saying it. It's just because he just wants to be the best player he can be. And so he said, if I can slim down just a little bit and slim down, I'm going to be able to do a lot more for the defensive line. And so, look, I like that. Travis Williams said, I know Trey Biddy in the question is high on him. He asked that question to Travis Williams, said, look, is he one of the biggest turnarounds? And so Travis kind of said, yeah, when you look at turnarounds, you have to look at this guy right here. And so he didn't say biggest turnaround, but he loved what he's been doing in the offseason, said he was working his tail off. Williams said he's explosive. He's a guy that can do a lot of movement stuff for them. He is trending upwards. So I understand, has he really improved a lot? Well, it looks like he has on paper. Looks like he has from the limited bits we've seen of him in fall camp. But we've said it before, Trey, and you know this just like I know this. Talk is one thing. We get to see 15 minutes of fall camp, and it's just so hard when you're watching the same indie drills over and over and over again. You're like, great, these guys all look good on paper. These guys all look good doing drills.
And a lot of them can look good in the weight room.
Exactly.
You can't put the bench press to the 50-yard line.
Exactly. And so I think when we talk about, this is where I tell Hog fans always to curb your expectations a little bit, right? All this stuff coming out on fall camp, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. But go look at Vanderbilt's fall camp. Go look at, Alabama's fall camp, Mississippi State's, Ole Miss's. They're all putting out content that is good about fall camp. And not everybody is going to be good, right? Not everybody is going to go and win every single game that they played this year. And so I think that's where we kind of have to go. This defensive line looks better. They look good. What will they do against other competition? I don't even think we're going to see it against Alabama A&M, right?
Better not.
No, not Arkansas State either. You're really going to hopefully see it against tough competition like Ole Miss.
Memphis,
that's what I'm looking for. But again, I like him. The coaching staff likes him. Do I think he's improved? Absolutely. Will we see what the product on the field is like for him? We'll find out very, very soon. So.
Right. And Sam Pittman, the pressure is what it is, right? And I've been watching the program just from afar. Like I said, I now have Arkansas in my blood. One thing I will say about him, he is a genuine guy, and he gets people to fight for him. So, talking about Danny Saili and the commitment he made, those are Sam Pittman guys. So the level of buy-in, I don't think there's going to be any question under Sam Pittman here in his 6th year what that's going to be. It's just a matter of whether or not they really have the talent they have the depth to take that step forward, which we all certainly hope that they can. All right, which position group, in your opinion, has improved the most, that has been an area of concern? Go ahead, Courtney, take it away.
Yeah, I've said this before on the show. This isn't going to be a shock to anybody. I think it's the offensive line.
Yeah, that would have been.
Come on, that's like the obvious answer.
And just in person, they're striking.
Yes,
they're really, really big. Bigger than an NFL line, even if I would say.
We talk about looking the part, right? And I look
Getting
at
off
that.
the bus.
I look at that offensive line. I go, yeah, they look the part. And then when you really dive into it, and I like talking to Eric Mateos the other day. If you haven't had a chance to go listen to his interview, he was awesome. He gave us so much good, inside baseball, so to speak, of what they look like right now. And he said, we just have so much more depth this year, where last year we just didn't have that. You would look at the backup of every position. And you would
playing a tackle.
Yeah, and you would look at the backup of every single position. You go, who's the backup center? Joe Moore. Who's the backup left tackle? Joe Moore. Who's the backup right tackle? Joe Moore. And so you would go, okay, that's not a lot of depth there. Yeah. You have one guy who's the backup to every position. Exactly. Now you have guys that are behind these starters, so to speak, and he's like, hey, we might have 7 or 8 starters. That's the reality of this, is we might actually have enough depth to do that. I like what he said with Caden Kittler, who's their center this year, who came in from UCF. I love why he said he likes him and everything, because not only do you want a center that has experience, that have made those calls in high pressure situations and who has played that position at a high level, you also want a guy that meshes with everybody and is a leader in that room. He came in and did those things. But Caden Kittler, he's been banged up a little bit. So you've seen Brooks Edmondson and Cash Courtney step behind him and fill in those and get first team reps, split first team reps. And that's only going to help you if something, God forbid, happens and these guys get hurt. I love Corey Robinson. Oh my gosh.
One of the highest rated, protection-wise, one of the highest rated tackles that was in the portal.
Absolutely, and I was just going to mention that. Pass protection was an issue last year. So Eric Mateos goes, we want to go.
They got Talon hurt. Yeah. They did.
Yeah. And we want to go out and get somebody who's a really, really good pass protector. Well, they got that in Corey Robinson. Now, run blocking maybe needed some little bit of help there and struggled maybe last year, but that's something that they're working on, and so hopefully we'll get to see that improve when those.
We're not glass half empty. We're glass overflowing here on PTN. Come on, Courtney.
I'm trying.
I like it.
But I bring him up because you go, hey, this is the guy we wanted. Well, guess what? We got him. He was highly recruited out of the portal. He had a lot of options, chose to come to Arkansas. And then we haven't even mentioned it. We got on the right side.
Big Shaq McCroy.
We got the Lake Show, right? You got
Kobe,
Shaq McCroy, you got Kobe Branham. And, with Kobe, again, I'm not bringing this up to be negative, right? We just want to see it. I like these guys. They look the part. They are just huge. I mean, you talk about Shaq McCroy. I mean, he lost 18 pounds.
He's one of the biggest players in Arkansas football. He's right there with Dan Skipper. One of the biggest players we've ever seen in program history.
When you look up, he looks like the Incredible Hulk. Seriously. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this guy's huge. And Kobe as well. I was impressed to see how much he had done in the weight room, and even with his pec injury that he was dealing with. And so that kind of worries you a little bit, and Eric Mateos talked about this. How much is he going to be behind everybody else in conditioning wise? Is he going to be well enough to join the rest of the group? Well, he said, don't need to worry about that. I mean, he did a really good job of making sure that he was in shape and ready to go. So I like to see that as well. I mean, I think somebody asked, maybe it was Cowhog32 on Hogville. They said, how much do you think we'll see of Kobe and Shaq? Do you feel like they're going to have a lot of success? No, you don't have that one. I didn't put that one in. I didn't put that one in there.
The Rolodex, a true pro's pro here. I like it.
I just want to give him a shout out because I know that Mike's not answering their questions this week, but I think he asked, how big do you see these guys being this year? I hope very big. I hope that we're going to see a huge difference in the offensive line. They certainly, like I said, look the part. You got to see when they're in a real game situation. That's when we're going to see if they can stand up to the challenge.
All right, Courtney Mims, a loyalist to her people, a true pro's pro. says Ask Mike. Ask Courtney, though. Going to be right back right after the break. Back here on Ask Mike. Mike, again, man, hope you're watching. It's actually Ask Courtney, her final version of Ask Mike here for the time being. And Marty Bird's proxy on Hogville wants to know, wow, how about Cam Little? We were fortunate to have him here, obviously, much like Felix Jones and Joe Adams as returners. What aspects of special teams have the best chance of being special this year as well? All, I hope.
Yeah, I like that confidence right there. All, I hope.
And that kick. Breathtaking.
Wasn't that incredible?
Preseason football sucks. That kick was awesome. Unbelievable.
I'm just mad it's not going to go in the record books.
You know what? It's a record to him.
I know. It's just like, man.
People do things in practice that are so remarkable we never hear about, we never see.
Yeah.
You know, at least that one's going to be, it'll be on film forever, and that kid might get another shot at doing it for real.
I think he's going to do it in a game. That may be a hot take, but I think Cam Little is going to try and do that in a game this year. We'll see.
Kicked it from his own 47. Well, sorry, they snapped the ball from his own 47. What a bomb. It was awesome.
Anyways, so you've asked about special teams, Marty Bird's proxy, and you mentioned one of the guys I'm going to mention here, Cam Shanks, right? I mean, how can you not be high on a guy like that? I mean,
we haven't seen much of him so far.
Right, but preseason All-American pick,
Triple Crown winner last year.
Yep.
Led the nation in return yards, yards per turn, and touchdowns.
Yep, absolutely. So look, if you're talking about special, he's a special guy. I think you're going to see a lot from him this year, hopefully. But I'm not. That was my cop-out answer. I'm going to talk a little bit about a guy that was related. He said they said, hey, he's kind of like Cam Little and Scott Starzik. There was a reason why this guy coming out of high school, number one, number two, depending on what service you look at, one of the best kickers in the nation in that class. And so again, he was right there. He was at number one in some services, number two in others, but I mean, it was like splitting hairs on that. Comes to Arkansas, yes, I get it. He's a freshman. Kind of get a little, you wonder what he's going to be able to do. But in the scrimmage on Saturday, made 5 of his 6 field goal attempts, so that was pretty good. The only one he missed was a 50-yarder. But I think they're high on him because they said, hey, he came in here. He has a great personality. He's a little bit like Cam Little in the fact, confident in what he can do this season. And so I think that's going to be a massive difference from last year because field goal kicking wasn't the best for this team last year. You guys know. Let's just go back to that Oklahoma State game. But I think this guy is going to make a huge difference. And I like what everybody's saying about him, that he's coming, he's been a leader, he's confident like Cam Little. Maybe we see a little Cam Little-esque in him. I mean, I don't.
Hey, we see a 70-yarder.
I don't know about 70-yarder.
A whole lot to be happy about.
I don't know about 70-yarder. I don't know about that. But I think a guy who can be consistent, right? Because you just want a guy who can be consistent and have that consistency. Sam Pittman was high on him. When we talked to him, a week ago or whenever it was, he said he made all of his field goals when he had given us an update on that. So we didn't get to see that, but you just want consistency. So I know Scott Fountain likes him. I think maybe they're going to be in a lot better position with him kicking this year than what they had last year. So that's my special, but hopefully all of it is special. I'll highlight those two for Marty Bird's proxy.
Shout out Cam Little, man. That dude is special. What an unbelievable leg. Parallax Pig on Hogville. Can you ask someone in the athletic department why they would schedule first time ever Arkansas State and Little Rock, Memphis and Notre Dame in the same year? Now, I've said this before to the loyalists here in the first 2 weeks that have been following the program, and you're going to hear this a lot on the Pig Trail Nation. I bet it has to do with money.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you know when these games were scheduled. I think people don't
typically
realize.
They got like at a minimum 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, the Notre Dame home
with
series.
A COVID game at Notre Dame.
Yes, and that got canceled, if you remember that, because of obviously COVID got pushed back, and then they kept this one that was supposed to happen in this season. They didn't push that one back, but it got scheduled in 2017. 2017, guys. That is a long time ago. Sam Pittman was not being talked about here, obviously. you had Chad Morris. And so it just, you're in a different situation, right? And so somebody might say, oh, well, you shouldn't be scheduling those teams anyways. You shouldn't be doing that. Nobody has a crystal ball. When you have a new coach come in, you're hoping for the best, right? You're hoping, okay, things are going to be good. And when we play Notre Dame, we might be a top 25 team in the country, right? That's what you're hoping when you're scheduling these games so far out. Nobody has a crystal ball. I don't think when they scheduled this series that they thought Chad Morris wouldn't be here, that Sam Pittman would be the head coach. I don't think any of that, nobody could have foreseen that happening.
How do you feel about them playing a game at Memphis? It's one of the best group of 5 programs. Yeah. And also keep in mind, Arkansas gets 2 home games to their 1 at Memphis.
Yeah, they do like a 3-game series.
It's a big challenge. What they won 10 games last year?
Yeah. So and I think when you're scheduling these things, you're thinking you're in a different mindset. And I know this from, my dad's been coaching college basketball for a very long time.
Involved in the athletic department in college.
Exactly. And so he has told me all the time when he goes and schedules some of these games, he's thinking, yeah, my team's going to be in the best possible situation, even if it's
a great showcase.
Exactly. And hey, sometimes things don't always happen that way. The transfer portal and all of the things that have happened now to reshape college athletics wasn't a thing back in 2017, and people aren't thinking about. And so, again, I will stick up for the athletic department here. They're scheduling games that they go, yeah, this is going to be a marquee matchup. Memphis is close
and
enough.
Notre Dame is. That's going to, if they're 3-1, 4-0, that is going to feel like, I'm not exaggerating. That is going to feel like one of the biggest games in program history.
Yeah, absolutely. There are people outside of Arkansas that ask about that game, that want tickets to that game. There's a reason why, and I know fans aren't excited about it, but there's a reason why those tickets are going for $500, $600, $700.
Notre Dame fans. That's why.
Well, there you go. But even if you're a casual college football fan, that game, it should be exciting to you. I think you're just in different situations when you're scheduling these games. Maybe there should be an argument for, okay, if you're scheduling these games that far in advance and that far out, maybe don't schedule a Memphis or a Notre Dame or anyone that maybe you think could be.
Arkansas State, that game's going to mean a lot to those people.
It is, and so there could be an argument for, okay, when you schedule that far out, can you think about how things are going to look, and can you predict all of those things? Maybe you schedule some easier competition than that, but you just truly don't know. You really, really just don't know when you're scheduling these things. 5, 6, 2017, that's 8 years ago now. So.
Well, whenever you're commissioner of college football, do you have an antidote to any? Do you want to see the SEC play a 9-game schedule? Maybe the pod system that's talked about a lot in the SEC. Maintaining some rivals, maybe more competitive balance. They could help Arkansas out. I think AP Top 25 came out. They play 6 Top 25.
Yeah, half of their schedule. Half of their schedule is
10,
top 20.
But in fairness, 10 teams in the SEC are in the top 25.
Yeah, it's just insane. And so there is an argument for people right now who are saying, okay, you should schedule easier, right? You should schedule easier that way. Okay, you have a chance of making it into the college football playoff.
Let's win 9 or 10 games and dare the committee to leave us out.
Exactly, and I totally get that argument. What for me, as just a straight college football fan, I like seeing a matchup on the slate that's Notre Dame and Arkansas.
I think they should play 10 conference games.
Oh my goodness, I don't know about that.
I think they should play 10.
I don't know about that. And the reason I say that is because I think it is fun to see some of these smaller schools get exposure and get to play the bigger teams, and you get to see that because, that's huge for their programs as well. And I wonder what happens to maybe like Arkansas State or Alabama A&M if you're not scheduling those marquee matchups.
And you can't get that, you can't get that $1 million check.
No,
people don't realize how much that funds those athletic departments.
Exactly. So I don't know if that means that if that means taking that away from those smaller teams, does that mean those teams go away? I don't like the possibility of thinking of, okay, well, we can't, since we don't get that $1 million check, and that's a good portion of our athletic department budget, we're not going to have football anymore. And I hate the idea of that. I hate the idea of that. So I'm half with you, but I'm half with the other side of the argument there, because yes, would 10 conference games be so fun it would be grueling. It would be fun for
Why,
us.
why do I care if Georgia goes 8-4? If Alabama goes 9-3? If
Yeah.
Arkansas, maybe a good year becomes 7-5. I want it. It's
Sure.
The NFL has never lost sight of this. They don't talk about this, but it's so true. They get that it's a TV show.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to see college football get more to. If it's the Big Ten SEC Challenge or whatever it is, I want to see good games. And one of my favorite parts as a fan, because at the core of all this, we are fans. I love those big non-conference matchups.
Yes, absolutely.
Arkansas, Notre Dame, that's so cool.
It is.
Georgia and Clemson, they have a deep history. They're going to play each other this year. That to me is what's unique. See, for fans here in Fayetteville to hear, here come the Irish, and to see the gold helmet, that's worth something. That's why those tickets are worth so much money.
I absolutely agree with you. So I don't know. It seems like a cop-out answer to be 50% with you and 50% for the other argument there.
Good.
But I love the small schools as well.
It's called Ask Mike. We can call it Walk Back Mondays. That's what we can really call it.
Okay. All right.
Courtney Mims helping us break it down. Final break here on Ask Mike. We'll be back. A little rapid fire to wrap it up. Back here on Ask Mike with Courtney Mims for one final time. Again, shout out Mike. Hope you're doing well at home, man. We got a question from WV Hog Fan on Hogville. That's a mouthful right there. Tennessee, one of the top games of the year in basketball. Why or who would you schedule that game during the winter break when the students are gone?
Yeah, blame the SEC on that one. Blame the SEC. Somebody always gets the short end of the stick with the matchups that are over winter break. They have to do it that way because obviously they're trying to get the full conference slate of games in. They've got to be done.
Get the best product on TV at certain times.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to be fair, there's a lot of students who try and make it back for those big matchups. And I just know this from when I was in college. I enjoyed coming back to campus.
If it means something to you, you'll get there.
Exactly. And it was exciting because not only that, it didn't matter what time it was. You could camp out for some of those. If it was a really big matchup, you can camp out for some of those games. You don't have to worry about classes or anything like that. So I think, yes, you might be saying at home going, it's going to affect the students. It's going to affect the students. But I think here at Arkansas, there's a really good student turnout for most of the games. And so I think it affects them right at the end of December going into winter break, but I feel like there's a rejuvenation coming back to campus and starting the SEC slate. That's exciting, so there's more of an uptick then. I understand it's annoying because you want some of your best games against the best opponents to be when all the students are back and everybody is here and everybody can go to the games, but again,
just doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't always work out that way. And to be fair with the SEC, thinking, hey, maybe if it is still winter break and people are still on holiday or people are still vacationing at that point, it'll be more watched on TV. Like you said, it's all about TV revenue as well and who's watching those games. But
and that's better for the brand.
Yeah.
You want the best time slots possible whenever you're playing these big time games.
But blame the SEC on that. That's not anybody's fault. There's always going to be games scheduled before the students get back.
Yeah, I know people here can be a little closed-minded. You think like, well, the SEC hates Arkansas. ESPN hates Arkansas. I'm telling you right now, every fan base feels that way.
Yeah.
You got people in Alabama that think, they got it out for us. They hate us because they ain't us. All that jargon you're going to be in school.
I actually think, and we talked about this last week on PTN Extra,
Favorable.
I think it's a favorable schedule. I know favorable is a weird word, and no one likes to say that any SEC schedule is favorable when it comes to basketball because of all the talent across the league. But this is a favorable schedule if you really look at it. And so I honestly think Tennessee, that game, starting it off, being here, I really feel like the students will show up. They will show up. Mark my words. If I'm wrong, you guys can clip this and make fun of me, but I think they will show up.
How many students in the student body do you think are from Fort Smith to Bella Vista?
Yeah, a lot.
20,000?
Well, a lot of them are from the Texas area. A lot of them
Dallas,
from
drive,
Dallas,
whatever.
but it's an easy drive. They will make it back if they want to be here. And I'm telling you, going to see a basketball game when you have no classes to worry about, you can just have a good time. You can have a fun time. I think it's great. That's personally me. I think it's great.
And I think you don't go to college to go to class. But hey, that's a different discussion for a different day. Don't do it like I did,
we
kids.
have college kids who watch this show. Don't say that.
Don't do it like I did it, kids. Listen to mom and dad. Don't listen to a dummy like me. I don't even know how I got here. Pig's feet on Hogville. What will it take for Arkansas to be a destination spot for football players? Again, said it already one time. Courtney, got a hot take for you.
Ooh.
I think it's going to take money.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, I
think
have.
It's going to take money.
I think it's going to do two things. I agree with you on money. I agree. Because right now, what is the driver for all of these kids is what's...
They want to know how much they're getting paid.
Yeah, that's the first question. When you ask any coach, when they pick up a phone and they call a recruit and they call a kid, they go, how much money am I going to make? And how much money are you going to give me? It's not about where I'm going, what I'm doing. It's how much money.
It's not about how fast I can get on the field. It's not about changing a culture. It's not about mom and dad were Razorback and I want to be a Razorback. It's about, hey, Tennessee called me. They offered me $500,000. I like you guys, but what do you got?
Yeah, exactly. And can I make more money going over here? So I think money is a huge factor, and definitely, yes, money. If they can make it really, really competitive, with the offers that they're giving, with the NIL packages. And it's, again, why they hired Remy Cofield to be the GM, right? It's why they hired a guy to come in and say, okay, I'm going to have these hard conversations with people, but I'm also going to try and make the money stretch to get everybody that we want with the money that we have. But for Arkansas to be a destination spot, you're going to need money. You're going to need money. The second thing, too, is if you don't have money, what will it take to get people here? Winning.
There's no better, you could sell the bobbleheads, have firework nights, whatever you want. There's no better marketing than winning.
Yeah, winning. I mean, come on. You hear kids say, well, they were in the college football playoff last year. I want to go there, I mean, talk about Florida right now, winning a national title in basketball. There are kids going, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I want to go there. I want to do that. I mean, LSU and baseball.
Brandon, Florida's a little bit different than Arkansas.
Florida's a little bit different, but what I'm saying is winning helps. Winning helps. Totally. I mean, winning helps you get talked about. Winning helps just if you don't have the money for a kid, right? How you can be better or push yourself over, a school that is offering a big NIL package, an Ole Miss or an LSU or whoever, and put an insert team here who's going to offer a huge NIL package. Winning can help. I think that's what's hurting Arkansas right now is you haven't won enough. And you also maybe don't have that NIL package.
Given some of the economics that are, around it, politically, certainly college athletics as well. To me, Arkansas has always been we have to do more with less school. I just feel like it's so hard to do that now.
Yeah.
You need the resources.
You do, and that's why a lot of coaches will say to you right now, they will tell you some coaches are getting out of the business because they just don't want to do it. Exactly. Where they go, I don't.
Jay Wright kind of saw the same thing in college basketball.
Exactly. And so
These are legends.
Yeah, they don't want to do it because they don't like where it's heading. They don't like the free reign that's happening right now. Yes, we have rev share that's hopefully going to do something. I don't think
Sounds good on paper. We'll see how
it does sound good on paper. It's just there's a little thing that I've talked about so much on antitrust laws that I just don't think it's going to hold up in court. But yes, all of these things are just changing, and it's changing rapidly. I just think Arkansas needs to get with the program a little bit, and that might be a little harsh on my final Ask Mike here, but
Look. Again, glass half full here, not half empty. Programs like Arkansas have figured it out.
Well,
this is a way better program than Indiana. It's a way better program than Arizona State historically. Historically, I think it's a better program than Ole Miss.
Oh.
They're winning. They're excited.
Yeah.
They have a coach. If they can figure it out, why can't Arkansas?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's sometimes it's deeper than what we talk about with money, right? If you're looking at where you want to go to school, there are kids still that will pick the traditional reasons. There are. I mean, we've talked about him on this show before. Antonio Jordan is a guy that said, nah, I'm going to Arkansas. I'm going to Arkansas. Stop. I don't want to do any of your camps. I don't want to be.
He believes in the legacy.
I don't care if I'm a 5-star. I don't care. I want to go to Arkansas. And so you still have kids like that. Hey, call up Dave Van Horn. Seriously. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's recruiting the old way?
And in baseball, they've found the funding comparative to their sport.
Sure.
So yes, it's not football, it's not basketball, but they're getting it done.
But even if they don't have the funding, even if it's not completely there, that Dave Van Horn is still out there trying to get guys to come because of the old-fashioned reasons. We have the best facilities. Yeah. We can develop you. We can get you to the league.
Shout out Dave Van Horn.
Shout out Dave.
You show up at Baum Stadium and you feel that on
yeah.
a big game.
Yeah.
To me, that's a moment where it's not about the money.
But it isn't, and that's what I tell people all the time. I go, you know what? There are guys that I've seen who have picked Arkansas, and I'm going, how much NIL are you getting? He goes, well, I was owed $100 here and $100 there, and I'm going, oh my gosh, you're a guy who plays a ton, and that's
4 first-round picks.
But that's how much money you're actually making. You're not being given millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, you're waiting for a $100 payment. No, you're going because you really love the school and you love the people here. I mean, Gage Wood is a guy we've talked about a lot, right? And he wanted to come to Arkansas.
The pride.
He wanted to come to Arkansas. He loves the program. He loves the hog across his chest. Like that is still, you may not think it, but seriously, there are still kids out there that believe that. And there are still kids out there that really just want to come to the school, have pride in the program, have pride in the state, and they want to play for the Razorbacks because it means more to them. There are still, is it a lot? I can't tell you that, but there are still kids out there that do believe that and do care about this program.
All right, final question here of the week. A heartbroken hog asking, what was your favorite moment at a live game? You teased this one.
You asked me my favorite moment, but I didn't want to spoil it. Okay,
right, well,
I didn't want to spoil it.
We're all ears. The stage is yours.
I can't pick my favorite. Okay, so can I go like a few? No, I know I need to like go through a few in every sport or like
no particular order.
In no particular order. One of my favorite moments, and a lot of people who watch this show know that this is one of my favorites. When I got to go to North Carolina back in 2022 for the Super Regional.
I've never been to Chapel Hill. I heard it is one of the
that was my first
best
time.
Campuses in the country.
It is awesome. And so you go there and, and a lot of Hog fans remember, but Arkansas didn't, they were on the road. They went to Oklahoma State. They went to Stillwater, beat them in the regional. And so everyone was kind of like, oh, okay, this Arkansas team might they might do it. And so then they had to go to North Carolina, and there's a lot of people out there that wasn't given they're not going to beat them, they're not going to get out of it, they're not going to make it to the College World Series. And so that Super Regional was great because I got to go.
It was 22, right?
Yeah.
So this is 1 year after the best year in school history.
Yes. So literally this is 22 if I'm remembering correctly, because that was my first year here. So yeah, it was 22, and we literally, this is crazy, Trey. We get to North Carolina, everybody else in the Pig Trail team had COVID, so I had to go by myself, and so I'm going, okay, I'm still pretty new here and all this stuff. There were so many Hog fans there, you wouldn't believe it. It was great. It was a great experience. But the day that they punched their ticket to the College World Series, it was just like rain delay after rain delay, and it was just like we were there, and it was just hours, and we're just waiting, and so there's all this anticipation, and you're just like, are they going to do it? Is this going to be possible? Are they going to make it happen? And it was dramatic fashion because they won that game, walk-off fashion. Brady Slavin's walk-off single to win it, dog pile. It was so exciting because I think I really saw how much Hog fans cared. They were willing to go to Chapel Hill. They were willing to get on a plane and go travel, and it was just great. So that was my top. That was one of my favorites.
What do you got for football?
This is easy. The Tennessee game last year. That was just one of my favorite moments.
So watching it from afar, I've heard people talk about it. The conditions were perfect, right?
Like it was.
What you think of on a perfect night in Fayetteville.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I felt like there was something in the air that night. Like you could kind of feel like, okay, maybe
this really could happen.
This could happen, and I get that way. It's so funny because Jacob makes fun of me all the time because leading up to the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of that game week, I'll go, nah, they're not winning this game. Nah, they're not winning. And then it'll hit
You're peeling
Saturday.
back the curtain right now. You haven't told the good people of Arkansas you felt that way before.
I think I have because I'm like, I can be really kind of pessimistic sometimes. But then it's on Saturday, it all changes. I go, man, they could win this game. Man, they could
Place
do
is
it.
banged
They could do
out,
it.
you know,
This
you
is
feel the
exciting.
energy,
Like
yeah.
this could happen. And so it kind of felt that way that night where I was like, this could happen. This could be a thing. I remember going down to the sideline, and again, Jacob was with me, and I was ready because I knew the students were going to rush the field. I knew the fans were going to rush the field if they actually pulled it off, and they did it. And I just remember like my heart stopping when the clock hit 0. I remember my heart stopping, and I just like sprinted as fast as I've ever sprinted out into the middle of that field. And it was so much fun. I felt like I was in college again.
Felt like a student again.
It was really exciting. And so that was my favorite football. And then y'all know I'm a basketball girly. So I've had a lot of favorite basketball moments.
Did they go to the Elite Eight while you were here?
They did. I wasn't there for that win over Kansas. I wasn't there. So I can't say that was my favorite moment. I watched that back here. So I couldn't say that was one of my favorite live game moments. That was one of my favorite moments here covering the Hogs. But I go back to this March Madness, and I go back to when I was in Providence, and it was the matchup with St. John's because it was Calipari versus Patino. And it was just like so exciting.
30 years in the make, they met in the Final Four in '96.
And it was just
the
so
history
exciting.
With Louisville and Kentucky.
And just the rivalry that those two coaches had. It's just like, oh my gosh.
It seems like leading up to that game, the respect on both sides. Like, hey, you know, we can't coach in the state we did. And, you know, be friends.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's all love.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect there between each other because you can hear it when they talk about each other, when they, they just give a lot of respect to what the other has done. And so I was very excited because I have never seen them live in a game coach against each other, right? I've always just watched on TV. And so that was it. You were there too.
I was not.
Sorry.
I was there for the game against Kansas.
Okay, you were there for the game against Kansas. I thought you were there for that St. John's,
No,
but
word travels fast.
But it was very exciting. It was very exciting because when they had won that game, I felt like a lot of people again were counting out Arkansas, and the topic was St. John's is the hottest team in the country, and they're going on what Jimmy Fallon and blah blah blah, and so all of this, and you're hearing just all of this stuff, and I'm going, they can beat them. I feel like they can beat them. I feel like they
got a
can
good
do
matchup.
it. They did.
The
did have a
NCAA
good
tournament
matchup.
kind of took care of
They-
kind of took care of the Razorbacks.
they
Maybe
did.
not Providence so much, but St. John's a pretty good 2 seed to play.
Pretty good 2 seed to play. But again, I felt like people were not giving them a shot. And so it was really exciting to see that team and just all of the relief of winning that game because there were so many people that counted them out this year. And when you start so poorly in the SEC, I mean, I didn't even have them going to the tournament with the way they started in the SEC. Yeah.
And it turned in Kentucky.
Yeah. And it all turned. And it was just such a moment that you felt so connected to those guys in that moment when they ran off the court and they were celebrating the locker room and Billy came over and hugged me. And I was like, this is a moment. This is just one of the coolest moments.
And you were in Rupp as well, right?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Did you feel what it meant to that basketball team?
Yeah.
Playing for Calipari?
Yes. You could tell when they walked in and the fans were chirping at them and they were calling them mean things.
The image of the cameras was unbelievable. You know, whatever, 30, 40 cameras.
We were told, because I was in that line of cameras, and we were told by, the Kentucky, the Rupp Arena people, the Kentucky SID, get off the court, they couldn't corral us. They could not push us off the court. Kentucky was it was warming up. They were warming up, and they were like, can you get these people off the court? And just no one budged, because it was just one of those moments that you're just like, this is once in a lifetime. This is historic. This is crazy. And I'm telling you this too, all the fans, they weren't looking at their team warming up. They weren't looking at Mark Pope. They were looking at the tunnel where Coach Cal was going to walk out on that court.
Understandable. He spent a lot of time. It did a lot of good for the program.
Absolutely. So that goes up there too in my rankings. That win at Rupp was pretty special. So.
All right. Well, happy to be here. Thank you for all you've done. I'm Trey Dare. Hey, go ahead. Close it out. Go ahead.
All right. For the final time, that's going to do it for this week's Ask Mike, or special edition of Ask Mike. I'm Courtney Mims. He's Trey Dare. And we will see you in the future.